Hello everybody and welcome to the next lesson. So far we've learned some pretty basic stuff, just some squares and ellipses, some basic colors. Not too difficult, quite straightforward, nothing too impressive, but now is when it will start getting a little bit more interesting. We are going to talk about gradients. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to draw a rectangle to demonstrate this gradient. And I open the fill and stroke dialog. Now I see that I have the option to fill it with a flat color or with a linear gradient. I click on linear gradient rather, and I see that I have a nice gradient from blue to apparently white. In fact, it's not white, it's just transparent. In order to edit this gradient, I can click here on the pencil while I have the gradient selected. I can also click on this gradient editor tool, and I see that I have a line which appears on my object, and the line has two handles, a square handle on the left and a circular handle on the right. I can move these handles up and down to change the orientation of the gradient. I can also change the color at these points. For example, here it's blue. Let's just quickly put it back to horizontal. And I want to change it from blue to red, so I put the red on maximum, the green on 0 and the blue on 0, and the opacity on maximum. And I want to change the right side to blue, so I put red on 0, green on 0 and blue on maximum, and I change the opacity to maximum. And here I see we have a nice transfer of colors from red, a gradual transfer of colors from red to blue. In order to add another color, I can click on here while I have my selection tool, while I have the gradient tool selected. I can click on the line, and if I double click, it adds another handle. I can set the color of this handle. At the moment it's a combination between red and blue. Let's say I remove all the red, I remove all the blue, and I add green. Then I have a nice transfer from red to green to blue. Let's look up here. I have my gradient with the name 4150, and I can use this button to reverse the direction of the gradient. And I have here the drop-down list stops. I can select which stop I want to modify. You see here as I change the selection, which handle is selected also changes. And if I have a handle selected, then I can change the offset. For example, it's now at 0,5. If I want to put it 1/4 of the way on the left, I just change the value here. Excuse me, I don't have numlock on. I just change it like that, and the green handle moves to the left. I can add another stop, change the color as well, or I can remove a stop with this button. I can also create gradients using the gradient editor tool. First I will draw a rectangle. I click on the gradient editor tool and first I select either a linear or a radial gradient. If I click and drag on my object, immediately a gradient appears. If I had rather selected a radial gradient, a radial gradient appears. The radial gradient is just like the linear gradient, but it has an extra handle and an extra direction. With these two circular handles I can specify the width and the height of the radius. Now let's open the stroke and fill and stroke dialog. With this square handle I can change the location of the center of the gradient, and with these I can specify the width and the height as I mentioned, but I can also specify the color. So let's change the color on the outside to red and change the opacity to maximum. And we get a radial gradient like so. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.